So Lucas, what's your favourite forgotten Sega console?
I have at home, I can look at it right now, I've got a Master System 2, which I think nobody has ever fucking heard
They released
of.
a second one? Fucking hell, Sega, get it together. The Sega Saturn is a largely forgotten relic of gaming history, most notable for coming third behind the PlayStation and the Nintendo 64 in the great console wars of the mid-90s. A console that trailed in terms of sales behind its competitors for almost its entire production run, a noteworthy exception being a brief period in Japan when the console was advertised by a mascot who beat up Sega's own fans for not playing it.
So, Karl, am I right in saying you're talking about Segata Sanshiro?
Yeah, the fucking man himself, Segata Sanshiro, which is a genius marketing move concocted by Sega in the mid-90s. And it basically involved hiring a guy called Hiroshi Fujioka, who was best known in Japan at the time as being the guy who played the original Kamen Rider.
Oh my
Hell
god.
fucking yeah. If you don't know about Kamen Rider, it was a series known over here in the West as The Masked Rider, which was a short-lived series over here, very obviously inspired by the success of the Power Rangers, which similarly just took a Japanese show and just put, dubbed over it in English.
Destructosphere, your time is up. Masked Rider has arrived.
So, Karl, for the people confused at home right now, please describe Segata Sanshiro for me, please.
Oh, I'd love to describe Segata Sanshiro, and he is a character described in official Sega marketing materials as a wandering master martial artist / just hermit mountain man who would travel the world, mostly Japan though, just espousing the benefits of playing Sega Saturn, which he would do by beating up anyone he found not playing Sega Saturn. As a reminder, these were ads aimed at and starring children, which means I can now show you clips of a large buff Japanese man choking children the fuck out for not playing Sega.
So, Karl, he started out as a modest, I guess, marketing stunt.
Yeah.
And it kind of escalated a little bit, didn't it?
It did, because Segata Sanshiro adverts just were immensely popular. And while the character initially started life as just it's a martial artist who just wandered around Japan beating people up for not playing Sega, he soon evolved into something much greater than himself. Quite unlike the Sega Saturn he was trying to advertise. And adverts became progressively weirder. They evolved to the point where Segata Sanshiro was no longer a man, but a superhuman figure who honed his body into a living weapon, running around the Japanese mountains carrying a giant Sega Saturn. It was an advert showing how he trains, and he's just got this giant Sega Saturn controller, and he's just punching it hundreds of times. And it reminds me a little bit of this scene in the film Ip Man, where Donnie Yen's fighting a bunch of karate men. And I think I've highlighted it before in another video we did about just unfortunate extras, where Donnie Yen, he knocks most of the people one or two punches. He flips them over, hits them, breaks the guy's arm, tosses him to the side. But then there's one guy who, for absolutely no reason, because he doesn't do anything to Donnie Yen beyond what the other guys have done, he grabs him, throws him to the ground, and punches him in the face about 400,000 times. And you see Segata Sanshiro in the adverts, practicing with those punches. So can we please now, editor who edits this video, take the head of Segata Sanshiro as he's doing that and put it on Donnie Yen's face?
Now, I've seen a selection of these weirder adverts, and they're all just fucking incredible, Karl.
Oh yeah, and they show Segata Sanshiro doing some absolutely, incredible, some would say impossible things, such as throwing a man across a football field with enough accuracy for him to head a ball and score a game-winning goal. Another one where he grows in size and multiplies his own body 1,000 times, like Piccolo and Tien combined. So he's growing inside and then multiplying himself. He knows how to do fucking after-image attacks.
Segata Sanshiro, Segata Sanshiro, Segata.
And then he has a special move, because of course he got a special move, where he throws people and they explode 2 times. I think Death Battle is how I learned about Segata Sanshiro. Is it where you learned about it too?
Yeah.
And they have a breakdown of his abilities. It's like, there's only one opponent he could possibly face, and it's Chuck Norris. and I can say that the best death battle they ever did is Segata Sanshiro versus Chuck Norris. Because they just have the bit at the end where Segata Sanshiro throws the Rings of Saturn at Chuck Norris. Get it? The Rings of Saturn. The Sega... Oh, it's so good! Like, do you remember just like back in the day where video game manufacturers didn't give a shit? Like, was it Sega do what Nintendo don't? Sega would directly call out Nintendo in their ads, which are like now incredibly funny to watch with the gift of hindsight, knowing that Sega just fizzled and died. But Segata Sanshiro, to his credit, did help, turn around the fortunes of the Sega Saturn, at least in Japan, because it's noted in an article by Forbes that Segata Sanshiro was directly credited by the company for saving sales of the Saturn in Japan. And remember, Segata Sanshiro's whole deal was beating up people who didn't play Sega games. Like, even his theme song, because yes, even the weird mascot character got a theme song, encourages people to play Sega, otherwise Segata Sanshiro will track you down and beat you the fuck up. So what?
I'd go and buy a fucking Saturn.
You would, wouldn't you? Because you're just so scared.
Yeah.
It's like this giant burly Japanese man might beat me up. Like, his first advert is him choking out children, and then he only grows in power and confidence from there. Like, what a bold, some would say heroic choice to just say, if you don't play our games, we'll beat you up.
I respect it so much because it did work a little bit.
It did, like we said.
The fact that anybody bought a Sega Saturn due to that is just incredible, because that was just an awful machine.
Oh, it was awful. Like, it was not great. Like we say, it got trounced in the West by the PlayStation and the N64. Working in tandem just stomped Sega's balls endlessly. But in Japan, though, sales of the Sega Saturn did outpace those of the PlayStation and N64 for a brief while Segata Sanshiro was on the air, threatening to beat people up who didn't buy one.
So, Karl, a bit of mourning here. Unfortunately, Segata is no longer with us.
No, and he couldn't save the Saturn.
No.
But he did save Sega, because Sega was so thankful that the bolster in sales that that advertising campaign resulted in, that rather than retire the character, they released a final ad in which he saves Sega headquarters from a missile being shot at them by catching it in midair and then riding it into space. And not so subtle allusions to the fact that the company felt like he had saved the company in some way from potential financial ruin, flies into space and explodes, and with his last ounce of strength urges the audience, please play Sega Saturn. So as he is breaking the sound barrier and entering the upper atmosphere, encourages you with his dying breath, play Sega Saturn, and then explodes, at which point he assumes ghost form and just smiles in a satisfactory manner as he realises that Sega is safe from the terrorists once again.
Sega Saturn.
And the best bit about this is, I think Death Battle, I give them props for this, they slowed down that footage and you notice that there's a shooting star in the sky.
Oh, man.
And the theory is that was Segata Sanshiro re-entering the Earth's atmosphere like Master Chief in Halo 3. Is that one of the greatest no, fuck you, I survived moments in a video game? It starts with Master Chief on the floor and you can see him and he's all crumpled up in a big mess. And the soldiers are around him going, I think he's dead. And then they say, actually, no, his armour protected him. And then he just stands up and picks up a gun and I'm good. I'm fine.
And he literally gets right back into the firefight
immediately.
It's like,
Master Chief, he just fell from orbit. Do you want to take a break? No, I'm good. And Segata Sanshiro was the same way, because he comes back in later advertising campaigns, including singing his own theme song like a Sega event. And more recently, Sega got a new mascot, which is played by the guy who plays Segata Sanshiro's son.
Oh my god,
They
no
got
way.
his son and they made him a new mascot. Like subtly indicating that the lineage of Segata Sanshiro will continue in some way. And I would just love it if those ads, like they started going back to like their 90s roots and just showed him like going to Nintendo headquarters and just beating motherfuckers up. And then they announced the Dreamcast 2.
Oh my god.
Like, if that ad would have been him walking out wearing his dad's outfit with like the Kamen Rider helmet on and the Sega Saturn under his arm and then a Dreamcast 2 on his back, I'm ready. So during this video, we referred multiple times to the series Death Battle. And Lucas, I'm guessing, like myself, you enjoy Death Battle?
Oh yeah, very much so, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed just, like, the animation, the animation quality, and two, just the level of research that goes into their videos. They have a team of researchers who delve into and track down some of the most obscure like pieces of media related to specific characters. And like, I just want to give them big props for that. Because I'm guessing like a lot of people watching, it's like, it's a dumb animation series. It's like, no, I really do respect the level of research that they go into. And really just spend a few minutes talking about some of our favourite death battles. So Lucas, do you have a personal favourite?
I think I have a few favourites, but I would say one that I really appreciate was the Batman versus Spider-Man one.
Oh, where they just say Spider-Man would win.
And it was, Batman. The argument is for Batman that, no, if he knows the opponent is coming, he'll prepare. And then they just basically said, no matter how much Batman prepares for this fight, Spidey sense would always fucking beat the shit out of him.
And then he'd punch his head clean off.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man can not. And it's really funny, like, and you can always tell as well when you look at a video, a death battle, new video uploaded. Oh, there's an anime character in it. The dislike bar's slightly lower than it should be. Oh, the anime character lost.
Yeah.
You can just tell every time, Kai, it's like, oh, did the anime character lose? Oh, yeah. The dislike bar's a bit, bigger than you'd expect. It's like, oh, God.
What about the dislike bar for Goku versus Superman?
Oh, so that's one of my favourite ones because they even made us like a sequel to it where they have to they have an entire 10-minute thing at the end saying, look, we get it, you like Goku. Mm-hmm. He's the man who breaks all limits, but Superman is the man without limits. You can't compare them. And they do this really long breakdown where they say, now, we adore each character and they're beloved by their respective fandoms. But if you look at it as like hard numbers, Superman is ridiculous. And then you get all the angry, salty comments. It's like, no, but he'd win though. And I feel so bad for the researchers for that channel because they like clearly spend a very long time doing what they do. And they always get so mad when they just see like the actually reply guys telling them, well, no, I won. And to move away from the research and into the animations they do, I know like they flip-flop in quality every now and again. Mm-hmm. But one thing I do appreciate is that they show characters using moves in interesting ways. I kind of wish they did in the games they come from and like the media they come from. Like they do one with Captain Falcon, where I think it's Captain Falcon versus Johnny Cage, where he does a Falcon knee, but then he runs and catches up with like Johnny Cage and then dunks him. It's like, I wish Captain Falcon could do that in the game because that looks so fucking awesome.
Well, they had one recently, of recording anyway, and it was like Goro versus Machamp. And just watching Machamp use all four of his arms like a
he's super good.
fucking monster. He's so cool.
And then you compare that to the games where Machamp goes, huh, and that counts as a seismic toss. So do you have like a favourite, like just like hype moment in that show? So I don't know why we're doing this. Like, obviously they don't need us to tell people to go watch it.
Yeah, they're a much bigger channel than
they are. And I hope people don't see this as like, oh, we try to like leverage them for views or anything. I just really do like the things that they do, and like it's one of those like guilty pleasures that I have. Of just like I just really like want to see like the high pass fight they did and try and see the stuff I missed. So do you have any like favourite moments?
One moment I really loved was like Link versus Cloud, where they prove that Link is strong enough to stand there and take every fucking hit that Cloud can hit him with. Oh yeah, because they say, oh yeah, you can just effortlessly lift a giant pillar of marble. Yeah.
And you think, oh man, like Link is a fucking badass. Like, because we're playing like Breath of the Wild at the moment, aren't we?
We are, yes.
And they say, oh, here's Boulder Breaker. It's the weapon wielded by the legendary hero Daruk. No Hylian could ever wield this without immense strength. And Link's just spinning it around like a jackass while summoning lightning storms from the sky and then jabbing his fingers into boiling hot rock as he climbs up without any effort. It's like, man, Link's such a badass. Like, put some respect on Link. He looks like a small boy, but he's like a grown-ass man.